Alright guys, we're going to review the Husky, or the Taotao 125. We have the Husky. All the 125s are the same, except for different body styles, but the motor's exactly the same. They're those Honda clones. So, alright, here's what we got. Now this is not new. I didn't want to do a review out of the box, and I'm glad I didn't, because we got some things to talk about. I bought this in March. It is now July, so not very long. And we're going to start with the pros of it. The pros are it's cheap. I got this delivered. I got mine through Q9 Power Sports in Madison, Wisconsin. $800, I believe, total with shipping. And they brought it to my house. It came in a crate, and I had to put some things together. Handlebars, wheels, the seat. Right here, I had to put these foot guards in. Had to put the rack in. This rack right here, there used to be a plastic thing all over it. The kids tapped a tree. When I say tap, I mean they only tapped it, and that's what happened there. All the plastic broke off, but it still looks cool, whatever. So there's the pros. That's it. Here are the cons. If you are a good welder, this won't be good, or this won't be a bad four-wheeler, because I've had to weld on this thing. I'm not a good welder, but things start breaking off this thing. See that? Well, that's melted from the weld, but this holds the exhaust on. That bracket broke off. This is how you tighten the chain tensioner, right? This bracket right here broke. This was about 3 weeks into it, that one broke. All the bolts, when you take them off, you have to be very careful because they strip easy. They are so soft. Everything here is soft. The steel is garbage. Every review I saw on this thing was just, everybody just loved them. But I live out in the country. I don't know if that's because all these people actually had these four-wheelers on roads and that was it. But it's not like we have all this rough terrain. I mean, there's 5 acres of flat ground here. That's it. So I've had to do so many things. One thing I will advise, when you're taking an oil change, your braking oil, I just did it, so this screw's a little juicy yet. That one is the one you need, right? This one, not this one. This one over here looks like it's for oil. It is not. There is a spring and like a little blow-off valve that'll pop out of that. We had a mishap where that came out, and I put it back in thinking I knew where it came from, because I couldn't find a diagram on this motor. Try to figure out how that went back in, and it ended up wrecking the motor. So instead of having somebody rebuild it, $360, and I ended up getting a new motor that was delivered also from Q9, but I wasn't going to throw this four-wheeler away yet. Another thing, let me show you with the tires. Like I said, I got this in March. It's only July. You see the dry rot already starting in the tires. This is a 7-year-old riding this thing. It's not sitting. She rides it. With this COVID thing going on, she's home every day, so she's riding it every day. You know. The chain, here's another issue. See how loose the chain is? Not bad. I actually took a link out of it. So you have to order a half link, which it's a 428 chain. If you're ever looking for it, it's a 428. It's some goofy off size that you're never going to find at a farm implement store. So I did that. And then your tensioners are garbage. They strip really easy. So make sure you're careful when you're undoing it. And it's a real pain to get those out. A wrench trying to get a wrench through here, you can get maybe 1/8 of a turn on it every time. And you got to loosen that bolt, and those 2 bolts. Let's see what else we got to complain about. Throw away the spark plug that comes with. Get yourself an NGK. Let me see. Yeah, I switched mine out with an NGK. Spark plug they have is garbage. You can look up the cross references online. Something that I noticed today is it's spitting and sputtering, and it's acting like it's just doesn't have enough air. You hit the gas and it wants to, if you hit the gas too hard too quick, it just won't take off. It'll act like it wants to die real quick, so you have to like ease into it. And I noticed I took the air filter off, and all it is this like little chunk of foam in there, and it's just sucking in all kinds of debris. The carburetor's dirty. This thing is not that old. The carburetor is dirty inside, so I got to take the carburetor apart this weekend and clean it out. And I saw they sell an aftermarket air filter that looks like it's a lot better quality, so I'm going to order that and put that on there. If I need a new carburetor, those are like 25 bucks, so I guess that's not bad. Your strap on your battery, look at that. It's already falling apart. This thing is not what all the reviews say it's going to be. Everybody says it's a beautiful machine, it's running for years, you never had any issues with it. I'll tell you what, here's another issue. Just issues every day. This right here is your oh, it's loose again. So that right there is your brakes. When you hit your foot pedal, it pulls on that, and that does your lights, your rear brake light. You'll see. And it also, you have to have the brake in to start it. So when the exhaust broke, it fell down on that, broke that, or I had to pull the wires apart to get it to work again because they melted together. And then the kids couldn't start it with the foot pedal, so that was an issue. Another issue with this is the front brakes are garbage. Usually I can push this with the front, yeah, see, I can push it with the front brake being held. It serves almost no purpose. The rear brakes, they lock right up. Front brakes are junk. So you got, usually you're teaching your kids to use your hand brakes. Not on this. What else? It squeaks, it rattles. These cages come apart all over the place. The bolts will start coming apart. They didn't Loctite anything. These lock nuts that they have on there, when you take them off, you realize that the nylon just falls right out. It's just the biggest piece of junk I've ever had. I should not have to work on this thing when it's only 4 months old, and I am working on it every weekend trying to keep it going. Oh, where is it? You shake it, and usually, yeah, the axle is actually loose in there. There's nothing you can do to tighten it up. There's no grease zerks to grease up this back axle. There's no grease zerks anywhere. Nothing in there. I have a Polaris that I usually ride, or that I ride. There's grease zerks everywhere. And I get this is only an $800 delivered machine, but come on now. Don't have all these reviews that say this thing's the most amazing thing out there, when just call it what it is. If you want a four-wheeler for 800 bucks and you're handy, buy it. It's brand new. But if you have $1,000 or $1,500, I recommend going out and trying to find a used Honda, Polaris, anything big name brand other than this thing, because these are garbage. See even this bolt, this piece broke off. This one broke off 2 weeks ago, and it was just a little bolt welded inside, with a nut welded inside there, same with the underneath, and it bolted up from the bottom. Both those welds broke, so I just put a 1/4 long enough to go all the way through. And then this one broke the other day, so I got to put another one in there. But it's not like those are structural, so I don't worry too much about it. Look, it's bolted right into the plastic. There's not even anything between them. It doesn't make any sense. Now, I guess there is one good thing. Two good things. It's cheap, and the remote works. But I found out I have a 4-year-old and a 7-year-old that ride this, and I figured the 4-year-old would need that remote. After 1 day with it, I didn't need it anymore. She understood. After I idled it down with the idle screw, she understood what her speeds were and everything. It wasn't really needed. So I'll start it up here so you can hear it run. I don't know why. I'm pretty sure I talked you out of buying it. Oh, yeah. So this button broke today. That button, which is your start button, it the inside quit working. So I ended up ripping this apart. This whole piece of the whole start button apart, and then your kill switch. And I had to solder some pieces back together and make this little, there's a little nipple that pushes against another nipple in there to make the connection. I had to solder a little chunk on that just so it reaches. So another thing. Let's see if I can get this started. Well, the rear brake's not working. Let's try that. So it runs. See, that's what I'm talking about. If I punch it, it'll try to die on me. It's like it's choked out. Let's try this again. And that's because that carburetor is so dirty already. And I didn't realize it, because why would you think you needed to look into that? But it does drive, once you get it tuned out right. You can hear it spitting and sputtering. That is because that carburetor, once again. But I GPS'd it. I went ahead and put the GPS speedometer on there, and she topped out at 25. I'm 200 pounds. 200 pounds, 5'11", and it topped out at 25 miles an hour. So you're not gonna get that 30 miles an hour also that they said. And this is what I thought, the first motor was bad. Oh yeah, that's right. Another thing that will be very alarming to you. This thing vibrates. Like, it feels, man, it's hard to explain. You know those machines back when you were a kid, where at the arcade or whatever, where you had to grip it and see how long you can hold on to it, and it vibrated so hard? That's how this thing will feel from like 10 miles an hour to like 20 miles an hour. In between that range, it vibrates like that. And I called the place that sells these, and I'm like, hey, I'm just letting you guys know that this thing's vibrating real bad. What's going on with it? He said, you bought a Chinese four-wheeler. They do that. It just vibrates. I'm like, well, what the hell? So, yeah, I figured it might be the motor was weird. I put this new motor in. Same thing. Same exact thing. I don't know why. I don't get it. That's how it's mounted, the motor mount. There's one there, and then there's one on the bottom. You can't see it from here. There's a little bit of rubber in there in the mount, but it does not shield you from that vibration. The kids don't care. I care, but the kids don't care. So that, I believe, let me think if there's anything else. This brush bar does save them. They hit a tree, and you can see it bent it and broke that bolt off. They didn't hit it that hard. I was there. I saw it. But it did save the ATV a little bit. The wheels are, the front wheels are wider than the rear, which is good. As you can see, helps. They haven't even come close to tipping it over yet. The alignment was off. One wheel was turned in a little bit, so I had to fix that. Came like that. So, oh, another thing, in case you're wondering, I run premium no ethanol fuel. And I run AMSOIL 40 weight, synthetic 40 weight in it. So I'm not putting junk stuff in there. So if you're wondering about that with me in the carburetor and all that nonsense, I even put a little bit of sea foam in there with I just pour a little bit in each gas tank that I fill up, my 6-gallon tank that I use for my mower and my ATVs. So yeah, it looks cool. It looks pretty nice. But if you ask me if I would buy it again, no. Not even for, if I went in the store, I think they're 500 bucks. No, just run. Stay away from these things, whether you're on a road or not. Just stay away. All right, guys. Thanks for watching my video. Have a good one. Bye.